Good morning, dear Dhamma brothers and sisters. Good morning to my meditation retreat yogis. How is your pain? It's good to see everybody on this very special day. And I have termed today's sharing reflections on the Dhamma. And because it is Dhamma Day, we should turn our mind towards the Dhamma to see what more we can discover, what more we can learn about this set of teachings we call Dhamma. Of course, Dhamma, some of you might know, is not a new word. It's not a word that was coined by the Buddha himself. Before the Buddha's time, they were using this word Dhamma to mean many, many different things. So in the Indian tradition, where they use so many Indian languages, some of which are Pali, as well as Sanskrit, this word Dhamma existed in that language system. But the Buddha also used this word Dhamma, and he used it in a very specific and a very special context, a very special way of saying what he wanted to say. So today we will discover and discuss some of these meanings. But in this special sharing, I would like to offer to you 3 points from the 6 points that we chanted this morning. Because when we chanted Swahakato, Bhagavata, Dhammo, Sanditiko, Akaliko, all together, we acknowledged and we paid our respects to 6 points that characterize the Dhamma, which means the Dhamma that the Buddha taught has these 6 very, very interesting and very great characteristics. They are like this, they are like this, they are like this. So we chant them. But today I would like to, in the course of the time that is available, I would like to discuss 3 of those characteristics, which I think are very relevant. And these 3 characteristics also came up in my mind over the course of these past few months, that I thought it would be interesting for me to share it with you to see whether you can look at the Dhamma, which are the teachings of the Buddha, in a new way. Not entirely new, but hopefully we can see something that we didn't see before in the Dhamma. So on this day, the Asala Uposatha, we call it, in Sri Lanka, they call it the Asala. It is a very significant day for 2 reasons. The first reason, we have acknowledged it. The first reason, Brother Ajit described it. When the Buddha attained enlightenment, which is a very rare, very difficult, very arduous, very challenging mission, the Buddha thought in his mind, this Dhamma, he began to use the word Dhamma to describe what he had discovered. That I have attained is deep. It's hard to see, hard to realize, peaceful, refined, beyond the scope of conjecture. Conjecture means thinking. Just to think about it, you get the answer. yeah, to suggest an answer. So the Buddha said the teachings that he had discovered is beyond just thinking and thinking and thinking. Yeah, it is very, very special, yeah, indeed. Subtle. There are fine points. There are points that are not easy to understand because it is so fine, yeah, embedded into the, the nature of our existence. The way we exist has got many, many layers. The different ways of understanding this existence, the Buddha has said, is very, very subtle. Sometimes can see, sometimes cannot see. So this is the whole challenge of the Buddha's teachings, to actually see what the Buddha was talking about, what the Buddha was teaching, to be experienced by the wise. Which means to say, the Buddha is beginning to give us hope. At first he said, no, I don't want to teach because it's so hard to understand. The ordinary person will not understand. And then he said, if I try to teach them and they don't understand, I also will not feel very good. Yeah, yeah. I keep trying to tell them and they do not understand. I think I better retire and have a quiet life. So that was the first thought of the Buddha. Hard to understand. But then again, when he was requested, yeah, the great Brahma, the foremost, yeah, of the Brahma beings, which is described in the scriptures, began to get worried. He said, the Buddha now has attained enlightenment 7 weeks from from today. How can he not teach? So there was a great concern in the Brahma's mind. It might interest you to know that great Brahma, Brahma Sahampati, yeah, he's still existing, was a great friend of the Bodhisattva. That means they had been lives together, cultivating. So our Buddha and Brahma Sampati actually kawan lama. Yeah, they are old friends. But one developed his abilities to go up to the Brahma realms, where he enjoys a lot of peace and quiet. So during that life's cultivation, he just went deep into cultivating jhana and absorption. But our Buddha, the Bodhisattva, had a different path. Yeah, and he kept on and on and on, yeah, until Buddha Day, 2567 years ago on in our calendar. He achieved what he had set out to do untold millennia ago. We cannot imagine the scope of time needed, yeah, for a person, human being, a being, to attain this Buddhahood. So he approached the Buddha and said, please, yeah, teach the world, all of the sentient beings. So the Buddha took a look with his abilities and he saw in this world there are those with little dust in their eyes. So then he agreed to teach. And after agreeing to teach, he looked around for people to teach. So he thought of his first two teachers, yeah, whom he approached after he renounced to learn how to get out of suffering. But these two teachers taught him meditation, absorption of the mind, where the mind comes to a composed state, yeah, that we call one-pointedness. And then he searched for them with his supernormal abilities and found that they had passed away. So he decided to teach to his 5 hermit friends. Yeah, in Pali, we call them the Panchavagya, 5 friends, yeah, who had done or practiced asceticism. Because in those days, they thought that if they forgot about the body, don't care about the body, don't wash, don't eat, don't care, then the attachment to the body will diminish, finish, no more. And once you cut that attachment to the body, you will gain enlightenment. That was their current thinking. That was the trend. Yeah, among all these holy men, hermits, and all this, they believed this. So they began to torture their body. So some of them look at the sun with the open eyes. So eventually they burn their retina. Not very clever. Yeah. Some of them started to eat less until they ate only 1 grain of rice per meal. So the Buddha, the Bodhisattva did this until he said, when I touch my stomach, I touch my backbone. When I want to touch my backbone, I touch the skin of my stomach. Because the stomach was no longer like this, it went down into a bag of skin. Because nothing to function. You put 1 grain of rice, no more. So he did this. Until, of course, what do you think happened? He fainted. If you don't look after your body well, it doesn't serve you. So he fainted, and then he decided this is not the right way. So he went on the middle path. This middle path is very, very important. Don't overdo your enjoyment. Don't torture yourself either. So if you take a look around, this torturing of the body still exists. Do you see it? If you take a look in the Malaysian environment, you will still see it exists in other religions. So this Buddha, this newly attained Buddha, he had the inclination to teach. So he looked and to see where the 5 the 5 ascetic friends were. And they saw that they were in Sahavatthi, which is 350 kilometers from Bodh Gaya, where he attained enlightenment. So he decided to walk. And he did it in 7 days. So 350 kilometers divided by 7, he walked 50 km per day to these friends. There was no bus or taxi. So he walked 350 kilometers to preach the first sermon. So in this world, the human world, as well as the world of the unseen beings, nothing much had changed. Right? There was a human being who attained the Buddhahood, but that was inside of him. What has changed in the world? Nothing much. Really, it's nothing much. Life still went on. People got up in the morning, did their work, had their dinner, went to sleep. Until today. Until this day. We call it the Dhamma Day. Dhamma Chakka Pavatana. These 2 things are very, very meaningful, but we only recognize one. And that is the Buddha delivered the first sermon. The Buddha, when he took birth, all his friends from the heavenly worlds, it is said in the scripture, waited. Because they knew this being did not just leave the Deva worlds because he wanted a holiday. No. He left the Deva worlds to become a human being because he had so much more to do to fulfill his goal, to fulfill his objective that he had been working for untold periods of time, unimaginable periods of time. So he left them, he took the human birth, and so these beings waited. And when he was born, they were there. You can see sometimes the paintings. When he left the palace, to renounce, they were there. When he practiced all these torture of the human, of his body, they were there, but their eyes open to see him. Torture, dong, peng san. Their eyes open, but they were there. When he attained enlightenment, they were there. But so far, they didn't know what is the change. What is the difference between the person, the being who left the Deva world and this person who sat under the Bodhi tree? So they waited. 7 more weeks, they waited. Until the Buddha went to Savatthi and he delivered the first sermon. And this first sermon was the proof that they had been waiting for. This Dhamma Chakka Pavatana Sutta that we chanted just now was the proof, because no other being in this whole universe can teach this teaching. None. So the Devas, the unseen beings, they rejoiced. First significant happening. The second significant happening was in our favor. Do you know what that was? It is in the last passage of the Dhammacakka Pavatana Sutta. In our favor. Guess. Anyone can guess? First thing is, this world-turning sermon was delivered by the Buddha. World-turning. No one else, none. Even the Brahmas cannot teach this. What we just chanted, no one else. So it's a great incident. The second one was a human being gained enlightenment. As he sat there and listened to the Dhammacakka Pavatana Sutta, he transformed from worldling Putujana to a noble one, Arya. So can you believe that? The Buddha himself was also noticing this. What does that show? That shows the Dhamma works. It is not a teaching, just come and teach. If you listen, if you practice, it works. The Venerable Ayasma Kondanya went from human being to attain the first stage of sainthood, first stage of enlightenment, Sotapanya. If you want to learn how, please join us next week in Wisdom Park. We will discuss this. It is a practical system that turned this human being into an Arya being. It works. So from that day, 2,567 years ago, all through the years, there have been many people who have attained what the Venerable Kondanya attained, even today. So that shows the Buddha's teachings is a practical teaching to be entered upon, to be learned and to be practiced. So if you want to, you can achieve what the Venerable Kondanya achieved on this day, 2,560 over years ago. You still can. It is not close to you. It's not that the founder disappeared, the way is cut, the door is closed. No, the teachings are here, and therefore, if you follow the teachings, you can still get what the first Arya attained. So what does that tell us? The Buddha's teachings is a dynamic, It's an active teaching. It is not a teaching just to go to buy the books and put in the library, in the university to get PhD and then come and do lecturing. It is dynamic, it is applicable, and it works. That's why, sometimes the followers of other religions will ask Buddhists, what is your holy book? Where is your holy book? How come you don't carry, books like the Bible with you? Because they will put the Bible, they carry it and they will open up and quote from the Bible, etc., etc. The Buddha taught for 45 years. If you want to carry, you got to go downstairs and take a look at that volume, that collection. It will take you at least 4 suitcases to carry around. But that is beside the point. The point is, out of that 4 suitcases, you can attain today. And from your attainment, if you are able to break through from your experience, you can describe it to somebody else, what you have experienced this very moment. It doesn't need holy books. It doesn't need holy texts. It doesn't need all this memorization, put in the mind and print all these volumes of books. It needs effort. So today, as the Dhamma Day sharing, I would like to share these relevant qualities of the Dhamma with you. There are only 3. Of course, there are another 3, and if we find time, we will discuss them. But today, I would just like to offer you what I have been thinking about these 3. The first thing I would like to do is to look at the meaning of the word Dhamma. The root word, this Pali Sanskrit goes back, the root word is dhar. And the meaning of dhar is to support, to uphold. That means if you stand on it like the earth, you will not fall down. You have a place to be secure. That is the root word dhar. But the Buddha, as well as other human beings, use the word Dhamma to have their own meanings. The first meaning is, the Dhamma means the SOP of the universe. How the universe works is also called the Dhamma. Used by other people, the Buddha also used it. It is the ethical law. If you want to be a good person, if you want to be a righteous and wholesome person, you need to follow the Dhamma. Also, another meaning. The third meaning is the path. If you want to get or attain enlightenment, you have to walk the Dhamma path. That is another meaning. And the meaning that we are most used to is, it is the teachings of the Buddha. Dhamma means teachings of the Buddha. That's why we pay respect to, thank you. Never mind. Afterwards cannot talk. Itchy. So we pay respects to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. So it is a term that we are very, very used to. But late Chief, Venerable Kesari Dhammananda, used to explain it further. He said to us, the root word is dhar. That means to stand on. So dharma means if you stand on it, you won't fall. Then he would ask us, fall from what? Fall to where? So he said, and this is what he taught us, and it's still in my mind. You follow the Dharma, you will not fall into the woeful states. There are 4 woeful states, apaya. The ghosts, the angry as well as the hungry. There are 2 types. The animals, as well as the hell worlds. These are the 4 apayas. If you stand on the Dhamma securely with your feet balanced, you will not fall. If you don't have Dhamma, you will have the opportunity, to fall down. So this is an important characteristic of the Dharma for us to remember and understand. The first thing I would like to share is the characteristic. The Dhamma was taught to be practiced. We've got to remember this. As I've been emphasizing, it is a dynamic religion. Dynamic means moving, active. You have to work with it. Yeah. It is not one, and therefore we have these three levels of engaging the Dhamma. Pariyati, learning, which we are learning. The next thing we must very quickly do to follow up is patipati, and then we can see pativeda. Pativeda means realization. The eyes, you get rid of dust. So with the getting rid of the dust, you begin to see the real Dhamma that the Buddha talked about. So these are the three ways, the three directions of engagement with the Dhamma. The Buddha never imagined that there would be books. Yeah. So he imagined it to be an instruction manual. Oh, too fast. Books in the library, printed and kept. And then people would just take a look at it for many, many generations. But he imagined it to be an instruction manual. The Dhamma, the volumes down there are instruction manuals with 2 points: to take us from suffering to the end of suffering. The instructions are to go from suffering, which we are experiencing, to the end of suffering. And what are the instructions? What are the things to follow? The things to follow are sila, samadhi, panya. Those are the instructions. It's like you get medicine from the doctor in the little plastic bags. And the instructions are, you must take this 1 tablet, 2 tablets, 3 times a day with hot water after meals. That is the instruction. You have to take it like that. You cannot take the medicine bag, these little plastic bags, and keep reading. Must take 2 times a day after meals, You keep reading. It doesn't help you. You have to take the medicine out and put it in your mouth and swallow it. Then it helps you. This is what is the equivalent of sila, samadhi, panya. You are taking the medicine out and you are actually actively practicing it. So I'd like to share with you a quote from the great Thai meditation teacher, Venerable Ajahn Chah. He said, there are people who are born and die, and never once they are aware of their breath. Breathing in, breathing out. There are people like that. I mean, you go and ask your family and friends, do you know you are breathing? Many of them will not know that the breath goes in, the breath comes out. They might learn it in science, in the school, but they never ever watch breathing in, breathing out. They don't know. And we are breathing every moment of the day. If we stop breathing, we will die. And yet Ajahn Chah says, there are many people who never are aware of this breathing. They will know what happens in America. They will know of all the social changes in Europe and in China, but they will not know about the changing of in-breath and out-breath. That is what Venerable said. That is how far they live from themselves. They know, no. But they are never aware of in-breath right here, or rising, falling of the abdomen. They really have no experience of it. 99.99% of the human population never watch the breath go in, never watch the abdomen rise and fall. So we are far away from the actual situation. We know a lot of things, We know about stock market, how to make money from Bitcoin, but we don't know rising and falling. So we are far away from the actual conditions of our life. Actually, when we are aware of our breathing, when we have to be, no choice, aware of the breathing, it is a bad sign. Why? Because if you have to breathe and consciously do it, that means there's something wrong with your body. When you need to, there is something wrong. But we are breathing here very comfortably. And what we can do is call the attention and know what are the natural processes of this human body. Then we begin to know ourselves. The next point I would like to share, the next characteristic is the Dhamma is known through personal experience. As I said before, there are many people in the universities, they have PhDs in Buddhist studies, religious studies, Eastern religions. And if you go to YouTube, you can find many of them just talking and talking and talking. Yeah, but surely if you ask them, do you know your in-breath and out-breath? No, no, no. I have written theses and dissertations and books about the Buddha's teachings, but I have never done in-breath and out-breath, not even one set, never. So they are good at theory. They are good at discussion. They are good at teaching, but they don't know what the Buddha's teachings are. So the true characteristic, the second one I would like to bring up is you have to know it through personal experience. And what does that mean? That means the Buddha is encouraging yata bhuta jnana dasana. That means to see things as they really are. And even us as Buddhists who are very dedicated, who are very committed, we seldom take this path to see things as they really are. What is it the Buddha wanted us to see? The whole process of getting rid of the dust in our eyes is what for? What is the Buddha encouraging us to do? Get rid of these things, the dust in our eyes. Come here and listen, to learn, to study. Then, so the Buddha wanted us to, the whole purpose, the objective, the focus is to see things as they really are. And so we do that through the practical implementation. The breath, the rising, falling, Go back to the experience of living. We are living here. What is that experience like? You have to examine it. All of us are alive. Hopefully, we are alive. We can come here, we can sit here. What is it like to come and sit here? That awareness is very important. We just cannot just do. We have to know what we are doing, examine what we are doing, then we see things as they really are. It's so important. To add another layer to our familiarity, our understanding of living life. We have body, we have mind. Do you know what your mind is doing? Do you know where is the pain in your body? And do you know that the pain in your body has many types? My dear friend Ravi can tell you about the different types of pain there are. So you have to know. It's not just one pain, there are many types of pain. So we are examining this as reality. Another word I would like to share with you to replace this word Dhamma is reality. Sometimes we say the truth, but the truth is not easy to really grasp the meaning of this word truth. Why don't we use the word reality to see what is real? That is Dhamma. So, we learn science in school. Our teachers give us books. Yeah, we go to the lab. And then the teachers say, in order to understand reality, you have to follow the scientific way. So I enjoyed science. Yeah, did you like science in school? Yeah, when you learn science? Because the scientific way is like this. The scientific way is you observe what is going on. What is the boiling temperature of water in centigrade? What is the boiling temperature of water? 100 degrees, yeah? And did it actually happen? You put the thermometer inside, when the thing starts to glug, 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 is it 100 degrees? So it was proven that water boils at 100 degrees. Do you accept it as the truth? Is it real? Yes. First thing is observe. You might have some idea of it might happen, but then again, it might not happen as well. So what do? Let's do it. Let's do the experiment. Yeah, add this, then you get that. Yeah. When you add the color yellow with the color blue, what do you get? Green, true. Yeah, I mean, in my studies as a designer, we had to learn all these things. So firstly, we observe, then we see it as it is. It cannot change. Yeah, if it is, you are not sure, you do the experiment again and again and again until a few times, then you say, the teacher will say, now do you understand? Is it true? Yes. Then you will write in the book. So the second thing you will do is, in following the scientific way, is you will discuss. The teacher said, did you see it? Do you accept it? Yeah, do you understand it? Yes, we see it, we understand it. And then the thing that after that is, what do? You write the books. So all these scientists, they will write the books about this, about that. Yeah, this is the scientific way. First you see, then you discuss, you come to a conclusion, it is like this, then you write the books, print the books, and give to all the students in the school. That is the way of science. You observe. What is the Buddha's way? The Buddha's way is this. First of all, we have direct experience of life, of existence. Secondly, we reason it out, we deduce, and then we conclude. And then the third thing we do is write books and distribute the books. Okay, so now, what is the first thing that you observe? What is the first thing the Buddha asks us to see in life, to understand it? What is the thing that all of us share this experience? Dukkha, true. The Buddha said, we share. There is no one, no being in this whole 31 planes of existence that is free of dukkha. In some way, there is dukkha, there is the suffering. There is the dukkha of changes, viparinama dukkha. There is sankara dukkha. That means as you exist, you also have dukkha. So we have the dukkha of losing things. We have the dukkha of getting things that we don't want. We don't want something and yet it comes to us. What are those things? Sickness. 2 weeks ago, I had COVID for the second time. Not something I wanted. Yeah, they always say, "Hey, very easy." No, no, actually, it's not that easy. Yeah, at least 3 days of suffering, but it gets shorter from the first time. Then we lose things that we want, the loved ones, the people that we love so much in our life. One by one, bye bye. We lose things, and it makes us sad. It gives us suffering, and we lose nice skin. We lose hair. Yeah, and from black become white. We lose beauty, we lose youth. Eventually, we will lose this life. We lose things that we love. So, what do you call that? Suffering. And to exist, the Buddha said, to exist, you don't do anything, you are still suffering. Because that is the nature of existence. So, this is the system. Is it similar to the first chart I showed you? So that goes to show the Buddha system is scientific. You have to go through it. You have to see it. Yeah, you have to understand it. There are, however, just like to tell you, systems that do not follow this. Systems of thinking, systems of religion that do not follow this. What is their system? This is number 1, number 2, and number 3. What happens when it is the other direction? What is this other direction? First of all, I give you the book. Secondly, you have to understand life from the book. You cannot question the book. And thirdly, you must see life according to what is taught in the book. Have you come across these systems? They are. So these systems, are they based on thinking and observation? So what do you call these systems? What is it based on? What are they based on? They are based on belief. That's why belief is so important to these other systems. You have to believe. If you don't believe, you are doomed. And some of them doom their followers to everlasting suffering. So you scare them with never-ending suffering. These people, they are terrified, scared. You tell them, you don't follow me, you will forever suffer. Scary or not? I used to be scared. When I was small, you teach me this, I will be terrified. Okay, I do what you tell me to do. No question. Yeah. Then I met Chief Reverend and things changed. Because he encouraged us to open our mind, to study Pariyati, to practice Patipadi, to see something, Pati Veda. So here is a very famous monk. You know him as being a famous monk. He's famous because he's a famous monk. But you didn't know he's a first-class honors graduate of Cambridge University in this area of theoretical physics. The chairman of his department used to be Professor Stephen Hawking. Previously, it was Sir Isaac Newton. So you can see the intellectual pedigree of Venerable Achan Brahm. And he said, it is important as religious people, we let the faith fit the facts rather than the facts fit the faith. So important. So my dear friends, have confidence in what you see. Have confidence in what you practice. Have confidence in what you will experience on this Dhamma journey. Have the experience, confidence. Don't think that you are not enough. Don't think that you are not intelligent enough. Don't think that you don't have enough wisdom. You do. After all, how many people in your family are sitting here today? Only you, huh? How many of your friends, the group of friends, come here for Dhamma Day? Only you, huh? I have three very good friends when I was growing up. And they can never understand why I go to Buddhist temple. They say, why you go so often? You want to become monk? Ah? I said, no. Actually, there's so much to understand. Yeah. So even your close friends sometimes do not have the same understanding. You have to encourage them. Yeah, I try to encourage my friends. So some of them, one or two of them are not bad. Then again, this is the prescription. Have you seen this symbol R with the stroke? You see it in the doctor's notepad. It is a prescription. What is the prescription? What is the medicine? What is the way we have to follow? Number one, we have to look at the Four Noble Truths. The first noble truth is to be understood. This is the work. Do you understand the Four Noble Truths? Number two, the second noble truth, which is the cause of suffering, we have to abandon it. Don't keep precious. We have to let it go in order to find happiness. Practical work. Yeah. In the workbook. Number three, the third noble truth, which is possible, the end of suffering, is to be realized. That is why this word is so important. We have to see it. And we can see it layer after layer by layer by layer. It is not immediate, but we can. It is like an onion. You know onions? When we peel the onion, first layer, second layer, this realization is done in layers. So we have to do it. Practical work, assignment by our teacher, the Buddha. And the fourth one is the way to end this suffering and find happiness is to be developed. All four words are action words. Action. Do it. Don't just sit. Don't just sit there. Do it. Nike said, just do it. Don't just sit there. Yeah. So this is important. The third of what I have to share with you is the Dhamma is timeless. It is always here. It is always in the now. That is why Holy Book is not so important to us. Yes, the Tipitaka is important. We come to Dhamma school to study it. But when we know that the Dhamma, this SOP of the universe, the path, the ethical way, the teachings of the Buddha is timeless, here and the now, we really don't really need any holy books. Let me explain. Akaliko. The Dhamma as timeless is not touched by time or season. Meaning to say, the Dhamma is always here. Nowadays, science is beginning to question the universe. Very clever, very well-known scientists are now beginning to say, this is not the only universe. Some people, they say, yeah, the universe started with the Big Bang. Have you heard of the Big Bang? bang, and the universe started to expand, and there is one universe. But there are other scientists who say, hey, if you look carefully, there are leftover from the old universe in this universe. That means something left behind. There is some kind of evidence, from the old universe that you can find here. So they are beginning to question whether this universe is unique by itself, independent. Of course, some people will tell you this universe was created, it's the only one. But scientists are beginning to find there's proof. It's not the only one. Left over, left behind from the old universe can be found in this present universe. So the cyclical nature of existence is what we are seeing. It's cyclical. It goes round, it appears, it exists, it disappears, and it appears again, exists, disappear, go round and round. This is what the Buddha taught. That existence is cycle. It's a cycle. Like the season. Here we don't really have season. But if you lived in the temperate countries, you will have spring, summer, autumn, winter. It will go round and round. So with the Dhamma, it is timeless because it doesn't follow the season. It is always here. It always works like this. This is the nature of how it operates, the Dhamma. Whether there are Buddhas or no Buddhas, because Buddhas come along and with their wisdom, they see the SOP. They see how it works. And the Buddhas tell us, hey, if you're interested, if you have little dust in your eyes, you can see it. And seeing it, you get rid of the suffering, because the suffering catches hold of you and you experience happiness. Simple as that. But you have to see it. Secondly, the Dhamma works in the past, in the present, in the future. It is always existing. It is endless. That's how it is. It is the nature. So, Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh, who recently passed away, also said, people sacrifice the present for the future. But life is available, in my words, to be experienced only in the present. That is why we should walk in such a way that every step can bring us to the here and now. So I'm coming now to the core of what I'm trying to say. That is, be in the present. Be here now. Because it is only in the here and the now the Dhamma is next to you. If you are dreaming of the past, there is no Dhamma there. If you are thinking of the future, if you are planning, does it exist? It doesn't exist. As you exist here and now, experience the present moment. This present moment is the Dhamma. And because it is here, the method to access it is right mindfulness. Be mindful. What is be mindful? Be aware. Note what is happening now. Are you aware right now of your thoughts? Okay, now be aware of your thoughts. What are you thinking of? Some of you are not thinking about what I'm saying. So you are thinking of something else. What are you thinking of? Are you thinking of lunch? Don't worry, I'm going to end soon. You are thinking of the future. Afterwards, I go to the corner shop, then I will order this. You are in the future, but you are not here. So being here, being in the present moment means you can see what is real. When you can see what is real, that, I told you, when you can experience reality, what do you experience? Reality equals Dhamma. So sit back. Let's do practical. Sit back. Close your eyes. You are sitting. I am sitting. Where is the pressure of your body? Just close your eyes and look for pressure, pressure. Where is the pressure of your body? Where is the strongest sensation of your body as you are sitting? Okay? Now open your eyes. Let me know. Which is the strongest sensation? Can you tell me? Yes, your backside. Because your body is heavy and you are sitting, your buttocks will bear the strongest weight. So please don't look down on your backside because it has something to teach you. Be there because it will get painful. After a while, it will be painful because you don't move. Why are you moving? Because you are moving. Why are you moving? Because the body is naturally painful. Why don't we become crazy of the pain? Because we move. So we relieve the pain. Now, okay, fine, good again. After another 10 minutes, okay, move. Now, yeah, sit there, don't move. Watch this pain. Be here and now. When you walk, walk. Left, right, left, right. Mindfully walk. Left, right. Sometimes we walk, we are not mindful, right become left, left become right. When we are not mindful, we trip and we fall. We sprain, we break. But when we are mindful, walk left, right. See the changing of the weight. The weight change from left to right, right to left. Our body must be balanced or else also fall. So develop this mindful way of walking. Because as you walk mindfully, you will know what is happening in the present moment. And this present moment, as I said, is real. The next moment is not there, but you are moving towards the next moment. So the next moment become present moment. And now what you are experiencing become past moment. So it's always moving, always changing, timeless. Can you see another meaning of this word? Akaliko, timeless. But if your mind follows it, you are there. You are with the changes. You know what is happening. You are with the Dhamma. So keep the mindfulness. Be with the Dhamma. It is practical. Sit, sit. Walk, walk. Think, think. There's another dimension of the heart which we cannot get into today. What do you feel? Do you feel pleasant? Do you feel unpleasant? When you drive out there, you will have a lot of unpleasant. Do you feel not pleasant nor pleasant? Unpleasant or pleasant? So watch what you feel. And you will know about yourself. So that itself is the Dhamma. Dhamma is always current because it is always the present moment. Dhamma cannot be old-fashioned. Dhamma cannot be past. Dhamma is always present. That is my interpretation of akaliko. Always here, always present, always with us. The only thing is, we forget about it. We don't see it. The Dhamma is chasing us. The Dhamma wants us to be with it, but our mind forget about the Dhamma. So we lose it. We lose the wisdom. We lose the seeing. We get more dust in our eyes. So let me end with this last saying from the Dhammapada. This wonderful Dhamma. There are 3 more characteristics we have to look into, but we take it as the teachings of the Buddha. One who abides in the Dhamma, one who delights in the Dhamma, one who contemplates the Dhamma, who memorizes the Dhamma, you will not lose the way. You will never lose the way. You will always be secure. You will always be steady. Even in times of danger, in times of challenge, during the pandemic, during troubled times, the Dhamma is always with you. You only need to see it. That's all. Yeah, Dhammapada verse 364. So with that, let me end the sharing. I thank you for your attention, and I like to wish you happy Dhamma Day.